As much as I'd love to just fly a Black Hawk in the clothes that I'm wearing right now, unfortunately it's not that easy. There's a lot of important life-saving gear that an Army pilot has to fly with. And in this video, we're going to dive into each one of these items that make up what a pilot flies with in the Army.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Devin Rushing, and if you're new to the channel, I am a pilot in the Army. If you're interested in Army aviation content or just aviation content in general, please subscribe to my channel. Now let's get to the video. So right off the bat, we have our aviator helmet. This is the HGU 56P by Gentex. So on the left side, if you flip this button down, you get your tinted visor. And then on the right, if you flip this side down, you get your clear visor. You have a mic boom. You have ear cups right here. They're soft, and there's speakers inside of these, so you can hear really well. And then on the very top, you have your Anvis 6 mounts. This is where your goggles mount into. And then, as you can see, there is a wire running to a battery pack to the back. You have your primary battery and your alternate battery. So if you're running off the primary and you see a red flashing light, you have 30 minutes to switch to your alternate battery pack, which will give you a whole new set of batteries. Now underneath the battery pack, you have more Velcro. This is where you mount your counterweight to. So when you mount those Anvis 6s on the top of your helmet, it gets a little heavy. So you slap a counterweight on the back of your helmet and it balances out the weight and it's way more comfortable. Right here, this is where your ECPs connect into, and I'll show you how these guys work. So not only do these ECPs protect your ears better, but they also allow you to hear better too, because you have the speakers that are inside your ear cups, but you also have these, and these are kind of like earbuds, so it offers more protection and better hearing. So you hook these in just like this, and then you put your helmet on just like this, and you take the end and you put it into that brass connection that I pointed out. Strap your chin strap on, and if we were in the helicopter, you'd connect this into the ICS system. You want to touch your mic boom barely, just to your lips, and you're ready to go fly. Next, we got our ALSE vest. Now, ALSE stands for Aviation Life Support Equipment, and all Army aviators fly with it. So I'm going to work from the left to the right and then up, and then I'll show you guys what's inside this thing. So on the left, we have an M4 magazine pouch. In a garrison environment, I keep my headlamp in this pouch. But if we were in combat, I'd stuff it full of M4 mags. Right here, I keep my C-cell pouch. Or I don't keep my C-cell pouch. That is my C-cell pouch. Right next to it, I have my survival flashlight right here. And notice I have a headlamp, but a survival flashlight as well. Now, I use my headlamp every single time I fly nights. I do not touch my survival flashlight because I want that thing fully charged, ready to roll if I'm in a survival situation. If I'm using this flashlight, it's a bad day, and I want this thing with full battery. Next to my survival flashlight, I have my survival knife. Now, this is actually Army issued. Very good piece of equipment. It is a bench-made survival knife. And everything's dummy corded down to this vest, so if you're ever in a evasion type situation and you're just, running through the woods, you're in survival mode, you drop something, everything's going to hang off of you so you don't drop anything. Moving on to the next pouch. This little pouch right here, I just keep my counterweight in it. So remember that thing I pointed at the back of my helmet? That Velcro straps right to it. And for my counterweight, I just use pennies in a Ziploc bag. This is another extraction strap. And this is another pouch for M4 mags. Moving up, we have a cat tourniquet. And then right here, I just put this device on myself. This is actually for my supplemental lighting in the cockpit whenever I'm flying night. So if I have to jot something down on my kneeboard, I have this little light right here that I can turn on and off. And it's always strapped to me, and it's easy access. And then inside of here, I have my first aid kit. So right here, so you guys can see. I'm not going to pull this thing completely out just because I don't feel like messing anything up. But you have just some latex gloves, some combat gauze, and some band-aids. Something to patch yourself up with. But, you know, it's really all you're going to do is patch yourself up and keep driving on with that first aid kit. And then on the other side, we have our survival gear. And just like the first aid kit, I'm not really going to pull it out, but there you got your signaling mirror. You have some fire starter, a compass, things that you would need to survive. And that's the ALSE vest. The next thing we're going to talk about is the Nomex gloves. So these gloves are flame resistant. The palms are made out of leather, and then the back of them are a material known as Nomex. So the cool thing about Nomex is if you were to burn it or try to catch it on fire, it would just char. It would not melt into your skin like a polyester or some type of synthetic material. So everything we wear in the aircraft is made out of wool, cotton, or Nomex. And it's because it's got flame resistant properties. We fly around in machines that could burst into flames if something bad were to happen. So you want all of your clothing not to melt to you if that were to happen. Now, one thing that I've seen in the civilian world is that I've always found kind of funny is I've seen guys flying civilian helicopters or airplanes, and they have full-blown like polyester clothing on, but they'll be wearing gloves just like this. And I've never understood why that is. So if somebody out there knows why, please leave me an answer down in the comments. Thanks. So the next thing we got is our flight suit. This is the cotton Nomex wool mix. This flight suit is flame resistant, so none of it is going to melt to me as if I was wearing a ground uniform. Notice the zipper. It's brass. It's a brass zipper. It's got a brass track on it. Not like the ground uniform that's got that synthetic plastic zipper, or if you're wearing the summer variant, the plastic buttons. Brass track, brass zipper. Same with the pockets. Got the pocket flaps. And then the one cool thing about aviation is we get the cool company patch right there that you guys need to wear with pride. We need to have more esprit de corps in our branch. If you're a pilot or you're an air crew member, wear this uniform with pride. We earned it. So you future brigade commanders, division commanders, don't stop wearing your flight suit. If you're on an ATP, you might need to run an APU. Just because you're not on the flight schedule doesn't mean go throw on a ground uniform to make everybody feel good about themselves. So next thing, we got the flight suit pants. So one thing you notice that it's very different right off the bat is this little pouch right here. And I'm not even going to pretend like I know what it's for. It opens just like this. I've heard you get put flashlights in there. You put a knife in there. Do whatever you want. But I don't know what it's for. But it's on my flight suit. And I'm proud to wear a flight suit. You got the pockets. Notice they're the brass zipper, the brass tracks. And then you have what's different about this. Well, I guess it's not really different. But the pocket is just wider on the ankles. I think the ground uniform has a smaller pocket. And then these pockets come in clutch because when you're sitting in your seat flying, you can store all of the things that you would need to grab very easily in your ankle pockets. And I keep pens, papers, my everyday carry knife, which is a buck knife, if you're wondering. Pretty good quality knife. And then I got my PIMCA card on the other side. But yeah, that's the flight suit pants. The next thing we have is the flight approved boots. Now, notice I'm rolling with the Rocky S2Vs. This is a type of boot that I've been rolling with since I've been a pilot. I personally think it's the coolest looking boot on the USERL flight approved boot list. You could go Google that boot list yourself, but most clothing and sell shops on your military post have if it's flight approved not, but the official list is on the USERL website, and I can drop that link in the description below. But I really wish they would add more boots to the list because my favorite boot brand is Garmont. So Garmont, if you are watching this video, do whatever you got to do to get on that list. That can't be that hard. So I will tell you what I don't like about these boots here, and it's pretty easy to point out. So notice this hole right here in the heel. Because we are pilots and we're constantly walking on concrete, working on airfields, this hole tends to wear through pretty quick. And when that hole wears through and you walk in like some moist grass or something like that, you'll start to feel that moisture kind of build through. So they're the best boot, I feel like, on the flight approved boot list, but there is that big issue, and they're not cheap. So, yeah. So the next thing we got is the knee board. Now, I've had my knee board before I even got into Common Core. I went to the hangar, I was super excited to start flying, and I bought a knee board. But about 2 weeks prior to my last IFE, I lost it. I don't know where it went, and I held onto that knee board for about 2 years, and I lost it. Fortunately, I went to the sim complex here on my base, and they gave me this knee board that somebody had forgotten about. And this thing is so old, the guy that probably forgot about it was probably retiring anyways, and he was just like, here you go, I don't need it anymore. But anyways, I wound up with this, and this is currently what I'm rocking with. Funny enough, this individual got it from the hangar too, but it's super old. It's got like a bunch of different flaps. This isn't the one, anything like the one that I originally had, but it gets the job done. So, knee board. Last but certainly not least is the iPad 5 mini. It's done me well my whole entire aviation career. I've never had any other iPad but this one right here. And it stores all of my Goodreader files. I run ForeFlight off of it, and I've never really had any issues with it. I've had it for about 2.5 years up to this point, and the only thing that I have started to notice is a slight decrease in the time it holds a charge on its battery. But beyond that, it's been perfect. So, iPad 5 mini. Alright guys, that about does it for today's video, and if you hung around this long, please give the video a like, give the channel a subscribe, and in the comment section below, tell me what you guys think about our gear. Is it too much? Is it not enough? And I'd be curious to hear your take on what other gear that I should consider flying with as a pilot.